Hi, my name is Rachel Paxton. Today I'm going to show you how to make a chokecherry jam. This is the first time I've made chokecherry jam. If you don't know what chokecherries are, they're little tiny cherries that grow in the wild usually. We live in the northwestern part of the United States, and I know there's a lot of chokecherries around here, but I think you can find them in other places too. I'll show you what they look like here in a second, but they make a very pretty jam. It's good to give away for presents for the holidays. In this class, I'll show you how to make and can chokecherry jam. I'll lead you through the process step by step. I'll give you the recipe and canning supply list you can download and print out for future reference. You'll gain the confidence you need to try more canning recipes on your own. For this recipe, you'll need 4 pounds of fresh chokecherries, 4½ cups of sugar, 1 1/4 cups of bottled lemon juice, and 1 box of powdered pectin. You'll need a boiling water canner, a canning rack if you're using your own stock pot, a jar lifter, a wide mouth funnel, and 3 to 4 pint canning jars. This is what a boiling water canner looks like. You can get them at Walmart or online at Amazon. They're about $30 for the kit, so that's a very inexpensive way to get started canning. There's a link to this in the supply list in your course materials. This is what a canning rack looks like. It comes with your boiling water canner, but if you want to use your own stock pot for canning, you can buy this separately for about $10. You just need to make sure your stock pot is tall enough that you can have 1 inch of water above your jars. Your jar lifters for taking your jars in and out of your pan. The wide mouth funnel helps you get your jars your food in your jars easily. Fill your canner about 3/4 of the way full with water and heat the water to boiling. You want to sterilize your jars, rings, and lids in the dishwasher. This is what chokecherries look like. They look like tiny little cherries. You want to rinse them off real well. Place them in a large pot and put about 1 cup of water in it and bring it to a boil. Simmer till the cherries are soft, 10 to 15 minutes. Crush them with the potato masher to get all the juice out. We're going to place the chokecherries in a jelly bag to strain the juice. Technically, this is how you make jelly, so you could call this jelly instead of jam, but the reason that I called it mine jam is because some of the pulp came through because I squeezed the bag. If you squeeze the bag to get all the juice out, you'll get some of the pulp out too, and that doesn't make any difference to me. There's no chunks of fruit at all. It's still, it's not a clear jelly, but it is smooth. There's no chunks in it, so you can argue whether it's jam or jelly or not. If you let the chokecherries just drip and don't mess with the bag at all, and your juice is totally clear, then you could actually call this chokecherry jelly, but I called mine jam since it wasn't clear. So measure your liquid. You need exactly 3 cups of chokecherry juice for this recipe. If you don't have quite enough, you can add a little water. You need to have exactly 3 cups. Measure your pectin and lemon juice. I use these bottles of powdered pectin because it's more inexpensive to buy this than to buy the boxes of pectin, and 6 tablespoons of this equals 1 box of regular powdered pectin. Stir the lemon juice and pectin into the chokecherry juice and bring to a boil that cannot be stirred down. You can add a pinch of butter if you like to help reduce the foaming. You'll still have a little foam though. Pour in your sugar all at once. Heat it to a boiling that cannot be stirred down, so when you stir it, it doesn't stop boiling. Boil it for 1 minute. Skim the foam off the top with a metal spoon. The foam doesn't hurt anything, but it just doesn't look very good, so it's best to skim it off with a spoon. Then you want to ladle your jam into your jars, leaving a 1/4 inch headspace. It's important to have the correct amount of headspace because your food will expand. Although jam doesn't expand very much, that's why you only need a 1/4 inch. For other recipes, you'll have more headspace. So the headspace is the amount of space between the top of the jam and the top of the jar. So whatever the recipe calls for, make sure to leave the correct amount of headspace. Wipe the rims of the jars with a damp paper towel or dish towel and place the rings and lids on the jars finger tight. Process the jars in a boiling water canner for 5 minutes. If your water isn't boiling when you put the jars in, that's okay, but you can't start the timer until it starts boiling. Make sure there's an inch of water above your jars, and if you're above 1,000 feet in elevation, you need to process for longer than 5 minutes. So check your altitude adjustment chart that's in your course materials for your correct processing time. Use a jar lifter or tongs to remove the jars from the canner and set them on the kitchen counter to cool. Your jars may seal when they're in the canner, and it may take a few minutes for them to seal when they come out of the canner. You should hear a pinging noise when they seal. You can tell if they're sealed or not by pushing your finger in the middle of the lid, and if it goes down and up again, it is not sealed, and if it's flat, it is sealed. If you have a jar that doesn't seal, just put it in the refrigerator and eat it in the next couple weeks. And your sealed jars can be stored for 1 to 2 years in a cool, dark area. As you can see, my jam is not clear. That's why I called mine jam. But if you did strain your juice really well so that your liquid was clear, then you might have a clear jelly instead. But it doesn't really matter what you call it. It's just a matter of preference how you like to eat it, jam or jelly. It's just a matter of preference. So this is a fun thing to make, and it's pretty much free to make if you can pick chokecherries for free like I did. So it's a fun thing to try. You can make syrup out of chokecherries also, and you can can that also. So it's fun to enjoy them in the wintertime. So give it a try and see what you think.